All right, let's talk about AI in your job. And I'm not talking about some far off science fiction future. I'm talking about the next 2 to 6 years. A massive shift is already kicking off. And today, we're going to break down exactly what's changing, which jobs are really facing the biggest shakeup, and most importantly, what you can actually do about it. So let's dive right in. So here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll get into why this next wave of change is just fundamentally different. Then, we're going to pinpoint the specific job categories that are most at risk. But hey, it's not all doom and gloom. We'll then flip the script and look at where new opportunities are popping up. And we'll finish with a solid, concrete framework to help you not just get by, but actually come out ahead. Okay, let's get into our first section, the coming structural shift. To really get what's happening, you have to understand this isn't just another bump in the road for the economy. No, this is something else entirely, something permanent. Now, this slide is super important because it draws a really critical line in the sand. The layoffs we've seen recently from 2023 to 2025, that was mostly a course correction, right? Companies overhired after the pandemic, interest rates went up, it was cyclical. But the shift that's starting now, heading into 2026 and beyond, that is structural. It's being driven by AI that can now do cognitive work, basically rewriting the rules of productivity from the ground up. And this is the bottom line. Let me be crystal clear, we are not in some temporary downturn that's just going to bounce back to the way things were. This is a permanent, structural change in the labor market itself. Certain kinds of work are being completely redesigned, and in some cases, just plain replaced. So, keeping that big structural shift in mind, let's zero in on our first high-risk category, content and data. This is really the front line where we're seeing the automation of entry-level knowledge work happening fast. I mean, think about it. Generative AI is getting incredibly good at structured, repeatable tasks. We're talking about junior content writers who are churning out formulaic blog posts, or SEO analysts pulling the same old standard reports. Even roles like data entry and social media coordinators who are just scheduling basic content, a lot of their core tasks are being automated as we speak. And this quote right here, it just hits the nail on the head. It explains exactly why this is happening. If your job can basically be boiled down to taking a specific input, applying a set of rules to it, and then producing a pretty predictable output, well, that's a perfect recipe for automation. That pattern is the real vulnerability. All right, our second at-risk category might actually surprise a few of you. It's code and coordination. And this one is interesting because it affects both the people who are building the stuff and the people who are managing them. So on the coding side, AI assistants are now fantastic at writing all that boilerplate code, generating basic tests, and doing simple refactoring. That just naturally reduces the need for junior developers who are focused only on those kinds of tasks. And at the exact same time, AI tools are automating the classic work of a middle manager, things like pulling together reports, forecasting KPIs, all that stuff that used to be a huge coordination headache. But let's be really clear here. This does not mean developer jobs are going away. Not at all. What's happening is that the demand is shifting. While the need for basic coding is going down, the need for higher-level skills like system design, complex architecture, and performance optimization is actually going way up. And for management, the takeaway is pretty simple. If a manager's main job is just to gather info and pass it up the chain, that role is in trouble. AI does that now, and it's allowing companies to become a lot flatter and a whole lot more efficient. All right, let's move on to our third major category, support and processing. This really covers the automation of all those routine tasks, both for customers and for all the stuff that happens behind the scenes. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Level 1 customer support questions, processing standard refunds, basic bookkeeping. AI-powered chatbots and systems can now handle these things with just incredible efficiency. And the same thing is happening in routine legal work, like doing a first pass on a contract or flagging potential compliance issues. So the big question is, where does this leave people in these jobs? Well, the key thing to understand is that their work actually becomes more valuable. It shifts away from all that repetitive stuff and moves toward handling the really complex, nuanced, high-stakes problems that the AI just can't touch. Okay, we've spent a lot of time on the risks. Let's totally pivot and talk about the upside, about the new competitive advantage, because this is where the real opportunities are. For every task that gets automated, believe me, a new need gets created. I mean, a whole new ecosystem of jobs is literally popping up to support this massive shift. We're seeing a huge demand for engineers who can weave AI into products, and for cybersecurity pros to protect these new, complex systems. Entirely new roles are emerging, like AI governance analysts who make sure things are fair and compliant, or AI workflow designers who get to completely reimagine how a business runs. And maybe the most important of all, there's a growing premium on domain experts, people who can be the bridge between their deep industry knowledge and the world of tech. And all of this is leading to a really clear division in the workforce. You can kind of think of it in three groups. You've got the AI tool users, who use AI to get way better at their jobs. You have the AI system builders, who are actually creating and maintaining these tools. And then you have the displaced task executors, whose routine work is being automated. The challenge for every single one of us is to make sure we're firmly in one of those first two groups. At the end of the day, your professional value isn't about just executing tasks anymore. The real advantage, the human advantage, is shifting to skills that AI just can't replicate. Things like systems thinking, connecting ideas across different fields, and solving messy, complex problems that don't have an easy answer. So the big question is, how do you actually do that? Let's get really practical with our final section, your preparation framework. We've got 5 concrete steps you can take starting today to future-proof your career. Okay, first, shift to an outcome-based identity. Don't be the social media person. Be the person who grows our online community. Focus on the problem you solve, not the tool you use. Second, develop AI fluency. You don't have to become a coder, but you absolutely have to understand what these tools can do and, just as importantly, what they can't. Third, and this one is so critical, double down on your core skills. Your deep expertise is your anchor in a world flooded with shallow AI content. Fourth, build public proof of what you can do. Write about your industry, build a small project, share a case study, show people, don't just tell them. And finally, number 5, diversify your income. Start exploring freelancing or consulting to build resilience beyond just one single job. You know, when you boil it all down, it really comes down to these 4 pillars. Your ability to adapt, to think in systems, to actually integrate AI into how you work, and your personal commitment to never, ever stop learning. These are the keys to a resilient career for the long haul. So I want to leave you with one final, really important question to think about. Is your career defined by the specific software you happen to use today, or is it defined by the fundamental problems you are uniquely capable of solving? Honestly, your answer to that question is going to determine your entire path forward in this new age of AI. Thanks so much for tuning in.